What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm going to give it maybe 1 or 2 more minutes, just wait for a few more people to trickle in, and then let's get it going. Ben Curtis and Meister Paltos, welcome back. Good to see you guys again. Let me know if the audio settings are good. Just want to make sure that I'm not blasting anybody's eardrums unnecessarily. Kerwin McMillan, welcome. Jackie Mason, hello. See. Hashtag just Sonic Ben Curtis. Yep, that's what I'm hoping for too. Meister Paltos. I think the STH2006 project is great because it shows what kind of level design could be used for a hypothetical boost adventure hybrid. I agree to an extent. I love this mod. It lets you kind of slow down and smell the roses compared to the original generations, which I definitely like. There's a few things that I would hope get improved. I'm going to be playing Demo 3 today, and so it's possible that the full-fledged Demo 4 might fix these problems when we see more than just Kingdom Valley in Demo 4. But I'll be pointing out kind of what I think could be improved with the STH 2006 project, because you're going to be seeing me struggle in very few select places. But yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of potential in Boost Adventure Hybrid, and this is a really good representation of what could be possible. This is one funky beat. Thank you. This is actually an original song that I created. It's called Save the Robot, He's Burning Alive, and yeah, I just kind of adopted it as kind of my theme song a little bit when I'm not using Sonic soundtrack. Yeah, it's just like a garage band thing, and I threw an auto drummer on it. This was years ago. But yeah, Demo 3 came out a while ago. Is there a full-fledged Demo 4, or is Kingdom Valley the only playable thing in Demo 4? Yeah, that's the only one. Okay. And Curtis, have you seen Project Hero yet? The name sounds familiar, but I don't think that I have. Is that running in Infinity, or is that its own custom thing? Okay. Now I'll have to check that out. I don't think that I've seen any videos of Project Hero yet. But I'm always looking at new fan engines and stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff out there. The best game engine, huh? All right. You're talking it up a little bit. Cool. Oh, thank you. All right, guys, I think it's time to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to be playing, STH2006 project, Demo 3, with Modern Adventure Physics. I put a poll on my Twitter a few days ago asking if you'd prefer to see more Modern Adventure Physics with STH2006, or if you wanted to see a 100% run-through of Sonic R. Just because I finally got my 18-year-old copy of Sonic R running on my modern PC, and so but you guys chose Sonic Generations, so I'm gonna go with that. Sonic R will probably be my next stream whenever that's going to be. So let's go ahead and get started with what we got today. Let's head on over. Let me know if the game audio is coming through loud and clear on here. Boom. New game. Yes. I like the idea of this kind of prequel. Oh, crap. Off to a great start today. I like the idea of this prequel level. I wish there was a little more going on to it, but again, but that's kind of more of a problem with 06 in general than it is with this mod. And I'm also going to be trying to boost as little as possible. Find that helps a lot when playing this game. There's places still in here where boosting is encouraged, but for the most part, like with any Sonic game, I really like playing it adventure more than boost when I can. So there's not going to be a lot of boosting here. There might still be some issues with some of my files. Like last time when I was playing Sonic Generations, a lot of you noticed that some of the videos from this mod were appearing instead of the tutorial videos. So that might be happening here and there too. It's kind of a mess in my filing right now. So hopefully I can get that fixed at some point. But this is a pretty short demo. It ends, I believe, right after Radical Station. Is that the name of that zone? So it's not a full playthrough of 06. Let's see here. Also, I can't tell if I feel like this might not be in the mod. Whatever. Might need to do some additional edits in here because I can't tell if this is a clean 06 mod or not. It might actually be original physics. I'll be able to tell better once I get to Soliana. That's typically when things tend to go more correctly. I've noticed that in kind of quick step sections and stuff like that, the mod doesn't always trigger correctly. How's it going, Inkwell? I guess I'm going to pose the question to all you guys right now. Do you guys want to see the cutscenes for this one? I'm pretty sure that most of you have seen 06 cutscenes and you kind of know what you prefer, so I'm just going to defer to what you guys want today. No cutscenes? Alright, no cutscenes. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, this is definitely modern adventure physics. So, a lot of people have said that the 06 project is the ideal way to play 06. I'm not sure if I would quite say that. There's still a lot of issues just with the core Generations experience that makes this a lot tougher. Simply because there's zero player camera control. It just kind of follows you wherever, and there's some spots in Soliana where that becomes an issue. Also, even with modern adventure physics, Sonic's acceleration and kind of slipperiness at the high speeds doesn't make for great platforming and stuff. Like, see right there, I was trying to push directly back and Sonic was kind of veering into different directions. Generations is, you know, fans have done a lot for it, and on its own, it's a really good set of mechanics, but there's limitations to it as well. I just need to figure out where that spring is. Can't remember. Is it over here? No. Oh, there it is. What? Let's get this going. Boop, doop. Did I not? I thought that I got the FX pipeline going. Boom. Still got a boost over water, but it's about the only time that you necessarily have to. Actually going to go a different direction over here. They did some really impressive things in this. Just enemy-based triggers and things like that. Whoops, a little slippery. Very ambitious. Whoop. Guess we'll go this way then. Yeah, there's just some occasional, in this mod, there's some occasional level design wonkiness, just where they tweaked it a little bit. Specifically, this part coming up right here. There's just kind of not a lot stopping you from going that way, and unless you've already played through this level, you don't really know that you should probably stop going in the direction that you're heading after going off that ramp. And also, if I die here coming up, then you'll see that that little homing attack chain with the Iblis enemies, that can become kind of a pain, primarily because of how their attacks work. Just kind of the timing of their attacks. You want to just like go for it as soon as you respawn at that checkpoint, and you can't because they're set to attack like pretty much instantly after you respawn. So that can actually become a little bit of a pain. I'm kind of hoping that a future revision of this mod can kind of fix when the attacks start. So that way it's a little less awkward. That's going to come into play a little bit when we get to the desert level as well. There, one spot specifically. Now I have two options here. I could go straight through the gate, or I can go through the shadow section. And I always just kind of go through the shadow section. It's not required. Oh. But I like to, just to show off the impressive amount of work that they did to really take advantage of the entirety of this level's nooks and crannies. A little bit of generation style stuff here. I always stop here. You're meant to be able to just get really good at like reacting very quickly and hitting that switch and going to the light speed dash ring. But I'm not that good. Woo! I don't really know why the Iblis monsters are here already. I don't know if that is intentional or not. Or if I've mucked things up. Yeah, this is probably going to be the last time that I show off the modern adventure physics for a while in a stream, just because I'm feeling a little more awkward about the shameless self-promotion of this mod at this point, even though I really do like playing with it more than just vanilla generations or any of the other physics mods that I've actually played with. There's been a few at this point. I don't actually need to do those. There's nothing in that box. Oh. I stand corrected. I always just assume that these switches unlock the box, so I always do it just out of muscle memory, but I guess it affects that laser activation. I don't want to do that. That's the only part that's a little weird on this one. You got to go through the right direction. I've kind of fallen into a feedback loop a couple of times in that section. I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to do the exact same thing over and over again. At some point I'll figure out that it's not doing anything. There we go. I really like how seamlessly they transition from this section to the Mach Speed section. Super well done. Just like, overall, this is a super ambitious project, and I am utterly impressed that they've managed to implement as much as they have here. And then obviously this spot was made to go quick, so it works very well with the boosting. There's a little wonkiness going on with the egg carry up there, but even so, that's still impressive. Like, that was not meant to be in this game. So every little quirky problem I have with this mod comes with the caveat of they were able to get this thing working, and by all means, it probably should not. So take all the issues I have with it with a grain of salt, because it's pretty impressive. Destiny Lord is asking what my thoughts were on the South by Southwest panel. It was fine. There was nothing special to it. I'm shocked that they did not show the movie trailer, but I don't know if that's something that they originally intended to do, but then just when the leaks happened, they decided to back off of it, or if it was never in the cards. Either way, it's probably a good thing that they did not. Just having it in front of people live, that was going to cause some problems either way. So it was a very smart move for them not to do that. Sonic Team Racing Overdrive was... Geez, I can't get the name right. Team Sonic Racing Overdrive was amazing. It was hilarious. I watched it several times. I loved the big love. Good comedy and stuff. The use of the 3D models and kind of making it was a little wonky. Overall, I would say that... the animation wasn't quite what I had come to expect from the Sonic Mania Adventures team. That said, it wasn't bad. The comedy in this one, I think, was a lot funnier than Mania Adventures. And seeing modern Sonic in kind of that 2D art style, I love it. I love what Tyson Hess's art direction has done to kind of make him look a little more jaggedy, a little more rigid in the line work, thicker lines, kind of more square eyes. I like that kind of attempt to make him a little more, I don't know, square, I guess. It reminded me a little bit of Sonic Riders' opening art style, which I dig. So very cool. Very cool. What would happen? What would happen if Sonic met Batman? I'm more concerned about what happens when Sonic meets the Joker. I don't want to... Sorry, my cat was just jumping all over my desk. You know, I don't want to be too mean to that kid. He obviously really wanted to... He's very passionate about that, so I'm not gonna make fun of him too much. And if you've never been kind of in that situation where you're asking people that you are huge fans of questions, your brain just like... It's easy just to kind of go a million directions. And the fact that it was Takashi Iizuka... Aaron Weber, all those people, I can't blame that guy at all for that question. Like, you know, he's a passionate guy about Batman and Sonic, so I'm not gonna be too harsh on him. I just heard his voice and saw that he was dressed like that Fairy Tail character. Not a big fan of Fairy Tail. My wife is a little bit more, so she could tell you the name. I can't. All right, let's move on. No cutscenes. If Prem is here, I'm sorry, Prem. I know that this is your jam, but I'm skipping them. It's hard for me to go to the... Like, the pre-rendered cutscenes are great, but the Whoa. Is that a... Why is there a mech in here? Can I attack it? Am I crazy or did I just see something up there? What is going on up there? Oh, I know what it is. That's a little kind of light path that appears before you enter levels in Vanilla Generations. I'm wondering why it's up there. I'd never noticed that before. Is that Tails? Why is he over here? What do you got to say, Tails? Nothing? I don't want to talk to you either. When I was testing the mod, this was the level that I would continue to come to. It's got kind of that cool... If any of you have watched that recent Shadow the Hedgehog multiple path video that I just did, I love this level for doing this. Because it opens up the silver and the shadow area. Where you can either go through the regular gold ring or you can go the long way. And the long way is very challenging, which I very much enjoy, and has a lot of places where you can, where I was able to test specific things about the physics. Very clever use of the fire shield in lieu of using Elise's and Sonic's weird magic love barrier. I don't know what it was supposed to be. Fighting spirit. Any of you watch Gurren Lagann? Brotherly combining, maybe? I don't know. Nope. Great music. 06's soundtrack is probably a serious contender for my favorite Sonic soundtrack of all time. They were definitely not shirking their responsibilities when it came to that. It's places like this where you realize that 06 did not really have bad level design. It was just Sonic's handling and the wonky physics that made people dislike it. I think level design is just kind of one of those shorthands people go to, saying, oh, Sonic 06 sucks, level design is awful. Level design was never the issue. It was purely just how Sonic interacted with the levels, not the levels themselves. There's still some weirdness here and there in 06 Original. But for the most part, if you liked Adventure and Adventure 2 levels, you're probably going to like 06's levels. I just wish that you could play them with 06, or with SA2 or SA1's physics. Yeah, I think this is super cool, this next part. Whoop, if I can hit the switches. Interesting that the sand makes water noises, but again, that's... I'm assuming that they just used lava here instead of, you know, whatever other materials that they had. This is where things get a little tough, but it's challenging in a good way for the most part. There's some issues though. I'll let you know when we get to them. A little bit more combat-oriented thing. All that goodness with Sonic 06's level design aside, though, there is one thing 06 does that this mod replicates, and I don't think that it really works super well, is that 06 really liked hindering your progress by making you destroy all the enemies in a section before a door opened. And that stop and go portion of the level design, I think, breaks the flow in a very poor way. I think that when people are talking about how they don't like 06's level design, that's probably what they're talking about. Alright, so this is the part of the level that I absolutely hate, because it's kind of tough sometimes to get through this section, and when you die, it spawns you back at that checkpoint, but the door's closed, there are no rings, and it's very easy to run into that laser gate or the creature's spiky ball, whatever that's called. So I've lost a lot of lives in that section when I was fine-tuning the modern adventure physics. I hope that a future revision makes it so that door does not close behind you, so you... Well, I guess they're kind of in a weird situation, because then also the enemies behind you will respawn, which would be kind of cheap to deal with. But that area is a little problematic and needs some fine-tuning in a future revision. I've gotten very good at this level, though, just having to play through it over and over. As you can see, you know, there's a lot of stop and go when it's trying to unlock different doors and stuff. And for this level, since it's supposed to be kind of like a dungeon-y type area, I can kind of forgive it. But then there are other areas where it doesn't make as much sense to have that stop and go. Kingdom Valley specifically, I think, suffers from that in the second area. Can't remember where that door opens up. There it is. But it's also levels like this that I really wish you had manual camera control in the Generations engine. Because if you miss an enemy or if you respawn with enemies behind you, it would just be a lot easier to be able to swivel the camera and get a better view of what you're looking at. Do not boost through here. It's a death trap. Let's see here. Oop. Did the door close? Yep, the door closed. So this is kind of another example of that. So, oh, and the bullets go through the door. See, that needs to be fixed. That is not great. Whoop. I'm gonna lose most of my life stock in this area. I get the feeling. There we go. Rings. Yeah, if you're cornering off the player in a spot with no rings and still putting them in danger of dying, that's not the best. Hopefully there's a way to kind of combat that in a future revision. Nope. Then, like, this is one of those situations where I really wish you could swivel the camera, but instead you just gotta kind of move in a direction enough to make the camera want to switch back to its original orientation on its own. There we go. Now I gotta hit those switches, but... Or is this the one I have to hit the switches? Nope. Just combat door. Oh, I just realized why there was Iblis monsters in that section. Because there are in... Is there Iblis monsters in Shadow section in Wave Ocean? How did I... Wow, I just got completely turned around. How did I do that? Whoa, 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 whoa. Do not... Ah. There we go. Yikes. Ring, please. Thank you. Alright, so this is where I got turned around before. I went through there instead of going through here, I believe. Yep. No, Rupert. My cat is knocking stuff off, trying to get attention. Good use of the of Silver's giant cue balls or whatever they're supposed to be. They had to use them anywhere. I guess that's probably a good way of doing. Oh, good way of doing it. One thing I will give this mod is that I think that they know that some of the checkpoint placements are a little wonky, and so they inundate you with 1-ups to make up for it. So it's not very often that you're going to get a game over from this stuff. Oh, I was getting a little bit of lag there. I wasn't registering my homing attacks. And this one, I know it's wanting you to quick step, but with these holes, I just would much prefer taking it nice and calmly. There we go. Oh, he found the cat treats. Oh. Nope. Oh, that was close. Your lack of thumbs are going to be your undoing, Rupert. It's just not going to happen for you, buddy. Whew. Alright. It's been a while since I looked at the chat. 1 second. Larry Boy, huh? I'm sorry, I'm way back in the chat, but seeing Inkwell is bringing up Larry Boy, and I have not thought about Larry Boy in like 15 years. It's a deep pull, my friend. Nope, I have Gurren Lagann on DVD. Got the box set. Why hasn't anyone ported 06 levels into SA1 yet? I have no idea how SA1 modding works. I'm assuming that there's some difficulty just with the fact that I think that 06 is just running on a completely different set of software. I think that Heroes and stuff has enough in common with Adventure 1 that makes it a little bit easier. Whoa. My cat literally just turned on... 1 second. My cat turned on our water heater. Our, what do you call it? Tea water maker. Stop it. Here. Take it. Take it and go. Destiny Lord said, Kaze, I don't know if it's just mean, but man, I'm getting so burnt out on Sonic and my interest drastically increased or decreased. but I'm still interested enough to follow up with news and watch Sonic live streams. I go through the exact same thing. I think that it just kind of depends on how long you've been part of the series will directly affect how willing you are to, you know, kind of stick with it. Like, at this point, I'm pretty safe in saying that I think that I'm a lifer. I'm going to be watching and playing Sonic for probably the rest of my life, for better or for worse. And all I can do is just hope that it gets back onto even footing. Yeah, those noises are my cat. None of the wind. He's seen the light. JK, Sonic still sucks. Sonic does suck as a whole right now, but there are portions of it where there's still a lot of potential. Like, Mania still has potential. I'm still optimistic that an Adventure remake could be done super well. I can't bring myself to just be completely nihilistic about the Sonic series yet. I think that there's still some goodness that can be gleaned from it. Hello, Windows Vista. Or no, this was Windows XP background. So weird. Alrighty. Speaking of stop and go, that whole experience was a little stop and go. Sorry, guys. Which level is next? I believe it's snow level, right? I like that seamless transition too. Like, I cannot understate how much effort went into this mod. It is genuinely impressive. Like, the little nitpicks I have here and there are just kind of undermined by the fact that everything about this mod is just so ambitious. Is this not the one? You guys are going to have to remind me what's next. Is it not that one? Let's see. Desert. I think it is that one. I think I was just not triggering it right. Also, does anyone know what this room is actually supposed to be? Is this like some sort of weird creeper that's just obsessed with Elise? Just like spying on her and stuff? I don't think that this room is never used in the plot, is it? I've never really done the mini level, so I don't know if it has a use. When face reveal? I've already revealed my face. I've got a video of it on my channel, and then I put a couple of pictures of myself on my Twitter. It's out there. I'm not keeping it a secret, but I don't have a face cam rig set up yet for my PC. Why am I... Man, my brain is just... Oh! Silver fight. That's what's next. It's like, why isn't this level triggering? It's because silver is first. Is it used in Shadow Story? What do I think of Unleashed? Oh, so it's complicated. Like, I think that visually, in terms of art style, in terms of just overall presentation, Unleashed is probably the best modern Sonic has ever been. Level design wise, I really like it, but it's just his controls. Like, his drift is pretty much broken. His there's just a lot of limitation in terms of how they put together his mechanics in that game, which I give him a pass on because that was the first time that was the first Boost game in 3D, and they did a really impressive job for it, considering this was like 2 years removed from '06. Like, the amount of improvement over that course of time is pretty much unparalleled. So it's one that I really like on a lot of levels, but in terms of overall gameplay refinement, that's not one of them. I appreciate its ambition, the fact that that's the last story that the series had that really drew me in. But Generations, from a gameplay standpoint, just did everything better than Unleashed. You would think just because I did this a couple of weeks ago that I would probably be a little bit better at Silver's boss fight at this point, but... Sorry to disappoint you guys. My skills have not improved significantly. Another really good boss theme. Uh-oh. This might cause some problems. Oh. Oh, I was almost there. Yikes. Oops. This is a really clever reuse of Silver's boss fight from Generations, but I've got kind of like that narrative problem of why on earth is this highway just covered in broken cars and debris? The correct answer is because this is literally reusing the Crisis City boss fight in Generations, but if you were just looking at this alone, just like, wow, Solion is kind of a pit, isn't it? No. There we go. Would it be at all possible to replace the stomp with the bounce from the bubble shield to replicate the bounce bracelet? That might be possible. I'm not going to be the person to ask for that because it took me a really long time to get Monitored Adventure done, and I feel like I didn't really learn a lot. It was just kind of a lot of trial and error to figure that out. I don't have a great understanding of how Generations works. And so I think that would take a lot of really, really intricate editing of script and variables and things like that, because I'm pretty sure that the shields functions only work in 2D, and so you would have to figure out how to make them function in the 3D space. If you were the art director / writer for a mainstream 3D game, what choices would you make for the way that the world and the characters are portrayed? I really do like Unleashed style. I think that having the humans be a little bit more Pixar-y is a good choice, just because if you're having really realistic characters next to a 3D cartoon hedgehog, we saw this also in Mario Odyssey, it's just people, it sticks out to people and not necessarily in a good way. I would like a little bit more of a cohesive world, and I know Iizuka talks about the whole two worlds theory. I'm not super great with that, and until recently, I was more thinking maybe that was just an interesting translation of the fact that maybe there's maybe of the word realm, because I know that in the classics, in the early days, Sonic was considered to be taking place on like Southern Pacific Islands, and then maybe that was just kind of a place where only anthropomorphic animals were, and then humans existed, but they were just kind of in different parts of the world. But now that's been taken to the point where it is very literal, like there is a human world and there is a Sonic animal world, which is unfortunate because I think that that's kind of a wonky way of handling it. But for how I would deal with the characters, I want to see the characters and their distinct characteristics come back. If you look at Sonic Forces, there's really not a lot in terms of real characterization there. Everything that the characters say is not like indicative of that character's personality. Like, for instance, you could switch out Silver's lines and Knuckles' lines, and it wouldn't make any difference because how they're handling it really isn't all that different, except for maybe like the big wave dialogue that happens during the that one Avatar stage. That feels pretty Knucklesy, or at least modern Knucklesy. But I would like to see more characterization in how the characters speak. I would also like to see characters interacting with other characters in their distinct ways as well. You know, you don't really see a lot of Tails and Knuckles discussions, and when they do discuss things, you're not seeing their personalities at play there. I'd like to see a little bit more of that. You know, what would happen if Amy is talking with Knuckles? You see that happen in Forces, but are you really seeing Amy's personality and Knuckles' personality clashing and, you know, doing all that stuff that you would think real people would do? Not really. I think the dialogue in general could just be handled a lot more intricately. That'll make it more amusing and entertaining to watch and experience. To Mario Odyssey's credit, the game itself is kind of self-aware about how odd the realistic humans are. That's 100% true. But it's also because Mario is able to do that kind of stuff. Just because it's really hard to describe. I wouldn't say that Sonic anymore takes itself seriously, but there's an aspect of weirdness to Mario that, yeah, he can go to this world and people aren't going to make as big of a fuss about it as with Sonic. And I think that just is because at one point Sonic did have some sort of degree of definitive aspects. Not so much anymore. But at one point he was well defined. And now that they're bringing in all this stuff that kind of clashes with that, I think that sticks out in people's minds more. All right, let's get this going. So this part was tough to do. if you've played with the modern adventure physics, you'll notice in vanilla generations that the board feels a little more stiff than it did before, and that was purely because I was trying to make it so it would function correctly in this section, because the new physics were just wreaking havoc on this section, making it like totally unwinnable. And even now, it's still not great. But it's a weird combination of being able to steer correctly and having, you know, the right amount of speed without boosting to stay on the path. Yikes. Whoa, that was close. I was looking back in my last stream and I was noticing that when I'm distracted by playing games and stuff, my grammar gets really bad, and I apologize to everyone for that. I kind of pride myself on being able to be relatively eloquent, but when I'm super distracted, I kind of forget what I'm trying to say, and it ends up sounding really dumb. I feel really awkward about that. So if anything, doing this more frequently might do a lot to help me multitask on this kind of stuff more, because I want to be able to do that. Another great soundtrack. Woo! Another great seamless transition. Whoop. This area is another kind of example of a little too much gatekeeping when it comes to defeat all the enemies, continue to progress. It's very stop and go in this section. This isn't just an STH2006 project issue. This is definitely the case in the original 06 as well. Oh. There we go. Was that a boost pad I saw? Or a bounce pad? Yep. Oh. Yikes. And again, it just kind of turns into a little bit of a primitive beat 'em up, both in this and in the original 06. I think it was just kind of a way of padding out each level a little bit more, which I don't think was really necessary. I think that 06 levels are pretty perfect in terms of actual length. Did I miss one? I guess so. Who'd I miss? Oh. Yeah, this is a little convoluted. Having a little bit more tighter a little tighter low speed controls helps a lot though. I decided to revisit Sonic Forces again just the other day. I was kind of wanting to refresh myself on it and see if my opinions on it have remained the same. And they definitely have. It's not great, but what really bugged me a ton that I did not remember as much from the first round, but it definitely holds true. How do you break the homing attack that bad? It's so untrustworthy in Forces. It's just, you have to position yourself just right to get the homing attack to function in Forces. I just don't understand how you can have, you know, a gameplay framework that's shared between as many games as the current Sonic framework and not have it function consistently between them. The only thing that I can think of is that it was tweaked for Lost World and that they didn't untweak it to work with with the boost formula again. It's the only thing I can think of, but it really is super frustrating. It kind of actually reminds me of how 06 functioned with its homing attack a little bit. Because I remember playing 06 for the first time and being like, why doesn't the homing attack feel right? And I think that part of that has to do with the cooldown was slightly different from the games before it. Before you could press the button again and trigger a homing attack. It's really hard for me to describe, but I eventually started to get used to it again just by fully releasing my finger from the button, and just doing that maybe just affected my timing of hitting it again. That made me get a little bit better at 06's homing attack. It's kind of similar to that, except for it's not just timing with Force's problem, it's also spatial. The Sonic's position in comparison to whatever you're trying to home in on to in Forces is super janky. Whoa. Oops. So Inkwell was asking, I've been meaning to say this for a while. I've been trying to get into the Archie comics and wondering what a good starting point would be. What would you recommend? So I can only speak from my experience. With my experience, I started with issues 86 and 87, which are kind of the self-contained two-part arc called Heart of the Hedgehog. And so if you want to just kind of be slowly introduced into something with just a basic Sonic and Tails story and that then goes into the arc, I would recommend that. The only problem you'll run into with that is that after, I want to say it's like issue 110, that's when they totally changed the format of the comics to 3 smaller stories per issue instead of 2 slightly larger ones. And when they did that, their writing style was totally different too. It stopped being so much about ongoing arcs and just one episode, it like totally episodic. And it really screwed up the storytelling there. And it was a really cringy time too, because they started doing this weird like tabloid magazine cover style, and it just like the entire tone and style of the comic changed during that period. And it kind of changed back after, I want to say, issue 124 is when they tweaked it again to make them longer issues for Sonic's 125th issue. And then the whole space saga happens, and then it kind of goes back to what it was before. And that's when you see some really cool stuff happen. Like, that's when John Gray enters into it. Stephen Butler starts, becoming a more consistently, you see more issues penciled by him. A really cool experience, kind of seeing that stuff happen. The whole melodrama. It's been a really long time since I've read those issues, so it's possible that the melodrama would make me cringe now, but at the time it didn't as much. Like the whole Sonic Sally slap thing, that definitely happened. It was really awkward. Oh, another really great period of the Archie comics was the Return to Angel Island arc, and that was penciled by John Gray. Fantastic artwork all throughout. That I consider that one like the proto Ian Flynn arc, because it feels like an Ian Flynn story. It was before he came in on it, but those 3 issues were really well written, super great artwork, super cool. But with the Archie series, it's very hit or miss. You're gonna go through some highs and some lows until Ian comes in. Then it kind of hits a really consistent middle. Mario Tanaka says, really hoping you will give KDV a shot with this as well. Can you tell me what KDV is? Like what that stands for? Oh, there we go. I like this little kind of hub area. I kind of wish that there was more of a utilization of mini hub areas like this. Just in Sonic in general. I think it's kind of a cool, like, little place to catch your breath. But it's not like a full-fledged, like, adventure field like in Adventure. Whoa, didn't want to do that. Yikes. There we go. Yikes. Keeping that pole. There we go. Again, this is like super well done. This area does not exist in the original 06. This is all custom made, I'm assuming for pacing, by the STH2006 team. And it is excellent. I love this. It's possible that... Is this the silver section, actually? That's possible. It has been a very long time since I've played Silver Story in 06. I've only ever completed the entirety of 06 once. I've gone back and played it several times, but I usually call it quits around Radical Station. Or just play my old save and play like Kingdom Valley and stuff like that. Oh, Kingdom Valley? I do have the Kingdom Valley mod as well. Once I get through this, I could definitely load that one up and play that. It is the silver area? Okay. Gotcha, gotcha. I thought that in Gens, the Mephiles monsters replaced the Iblis monster assets. How can they both exist in the same mod? I have no idea. I didn't make this. I didn't make the 06 mod, so I'm not quite sure how it works. All right, Tanaka rubs hands. It's our baby, and a lot of heart and soul went into it. I can definitely feel that. Like, this is... I love this. This is such an intricate and well put together mod. Like, I hope that the negative stuff that I've said about it doesn't detract from the fact that this is impressive. Like, every aspect of this is just... I can tell this is a passion project for sure. Also, Crisis City was the best level in... my favorite level in the original 06. Followed very closely by Kingdom Valley. Like, I remember this was probably late 2005. I remember getting a gaming magazine, looking into Twilight Princess, and I think that was the first time that I knew that Sonic 06 was coming out, because I wasn't really too much on the internet back then. But and the I want to say it was like EGM or something like that, but that was the first place that I saw 06, and the screenshots were all of Crisis City, and it blew my mind. And even in the final 06 product, it's probably the best looking level in the entire game. The lighting is amazing. Just the music gets your heart pumping. If every level was as well developed as Crisis City, even with all of 06's other flaws, I think that there's a chance that people might have been more willing to put up with it. Nope. Yikes. And if Mario Tanaka, you're one of the developers on this mod, if you're still in the chat, I'm very curious to get kind of a better understanding of how you guys were able to do all this. Like, it feels like, I know that 06 and Generations both run on Havoc. Is that how you were able to replicate so many of the set pieces, like the breaking roadways and things like that? Is that how you were able to replicate all this? Was there physics data that you were able to reintegrate into Generations? Or, because like all of this is just so impressive. I don't think that I've ever seen anything quite on this scale in modding before. Even though I'm still pretty new to modding myself. So good. Close, no cigar. Whoa. Eagle took 6 months. That's insane. Yeah, I'll definitely load up the demo for Kingdom Valley after this. Oops. Ah. Ooh. All right. Hook. Okay. Whoa! I quick stepped when I shouldn't have. I was trying to finish that combo, and I think that was just a little too slow. Oh. Ah! In the original 06, the tornado section is generally where I lost the majority of my lives and called it quits for a while and would eventually come back a day or so later and finish it up. It's a little less frustrating in this. Well, when I can play it correctly. That tornado was carrying a car. That was a little early. Definition of iconic. Whoa. Very cool. A lot of this was watching videos and being like, how do we do this? And do it frame by frame. I spent 2 months on this KDV audio. Yeah, I mean, like, your effort really shows. This is a fantastic mod. Inkwell is asking, who is my favorite VO for each of the main Sonic characters? I've never disliked any of the VOs, actually. But considering that I grew up in the adventure era, I would probably say Drummond is my favorite Sonic. I would say, I can't think of her name, but the 4Kids Rouge is probably my favorite Rouge. Tails, I've never heard a voice. Oh, no, I take that back. I've definitely heard voices of Tails that I've disliked. But basically, 4Kids on. I think that Tails has had like 3 voice actors. He's always been fine. Knuckles, definitely, probably Adventure Knuckles. I'm trying to think of who else. Mike Pollock just is Eggman. Like, I'll never hear anybody else but that ever again. He's just so good in the role. Shadow, definitely David Humphrey is my favorite Shadow by far. Yeah, I like a mishmash of the different voice actors from the different eras. I wouldn't say that I would definitively choose one cast for future Sonic games. Like, I would take specific actors from each era and combine them all together. Yep, no, there's never been a bad Eggman either. Like, special shout out to Jim Cummings in Sat AM, who is just like utterly terrifying in the role. So good. Let's see if I can. I have to. Oh boy. Let's see here. Oh, well, that should fix the problem. There we go. Woo. Yeah, this is a really masterful kind of reappropriation of Silver's section. Very clever. So there's Crisis City. There we go. Whee! Oh. I don't know if that's my physics or what's going on with that. There we go. Alright, going from my favorite 06 to level to what is probably, I think, pretty safely my least favorite 06 level. I always thought it was weird in the original 06 that this is where they kind of start doing some kind of tutorialization again. You know, they're reminding you of what the homing attack is, of what the light speed dash is, I think, and I'm very curious why it happens in this level. Like, was this originally going to be an earlier level, or was this supposed to be, I don't know. I seriously doubt it was meant to be an early level, just based on how it's laid out, but it's very curious that it was here that they decided to randomly just start being like, here's how you do basic things that you've been doing for probably like 3 hours at this point in this game. Oh, interesting. The good old 06 stop and fight routine. That's possible too. Maybe this was meant to be more of a demo level. But Kingdom Valley was definitely, was definitely the right choice for demos. Great music in this level too, very kind of adventure era music. Heavy guitars. I'm assuming this is Jun Snow. Sonoe. I would love to hear this live. I always kind of like the lava scaling portion. It's always given me kind of a crazy gadget from SA2 vibe. Just not nearly as confusing as the gravity shifting stuff. I guess a little bit of a S3 and K vibe too with the waterfall scaling. It's a little more dangerous. Oop. Yep. There we go. That third one unlock? Nope. I don't think I need it. Pretty good on lives at this point. Now, of course, after saying that. Peeper's asking, does the mod properly replicate SA physics? No. It just, the primary focus of it is just giving you kind of better low-speed controls like the adventure. Like the adventure games, gives it more seamless. You can turn around and circle and stuff, and it's not going to like instantly stop you. It gives you better turning, things like that. So it brings it more in line with what you might have expected from an adventure title, but it's not going to perfectly replicate them. It's still very Generations-y. Just you know, gives you a little bit more control. But if you were just playing vanilla Generations levels, it's not going to very much negatively affect that. It's just going to kind of give you a little bit more control in the spots where you have to slow down. But if you're playing just like you would generally play a regular Generations level with you know, heavy emphasis on the boost and stuff, you can play it just like normal. That seems like a poor idea, Sonic, but it's up to you. Someone's going to have to remind me what the actual purpose of this level was. I know that there was a Chaos Emerald here, right? Is that the reason why they came here? Whoa. It's been a while since I played 06. Oh, that's right. This is the don't touch it. That great shadow line. I think that this is also the only level in the original 06 that I actually have found an invincibility. Because I always remember going through the invincibility section there, but never in anywhere other place. And it's like the most worthless place for an invincibility to be. Invincibility in the 3D Sonics has honestly never really felt necessary. Like in the adventure games and stuff. Because it's so easy to avoid enemies in 3D that it just feels unnecessary. Yikes. Alright. What am I missing? Are you what I'm missing? Are you what I'm looking for? There we go, I suppose. Oh, was the old one the one that I came through? Oh, that was irresponsible of me. Whoa. Oh, I didn't press it. Ah. I just want to lock onto flame chicken over there. There we go. Oh, there's more than one, isn't there? Oh, all right. Where's that first couple? I got that one. Is it over here? What am I missing? Oops. Got that one. Is it over here? Whoa. Well, at least I get to start over. Yeah, this level will be remade from scratch. Nice. Very cool. I honestly don't mind it too much as it is. But yeah, any little personal touch that your team works on, that's pretty sweet. Is that the one yeah, there's the one I missed. Yikes. A little enemy heavy, I will say, but overall I have very few complaints. Or were you just talking about how this level itself is not good in its original form? Because I would agree with that. It's playing it in this mod makes it more manageable. But in the original 06, I was just not a fan of its art style either. Because you go from a level like Crisis City, which is absolutely gorgeous, and then you go to something like this that's just a lot of rock and not a lot of lighting going on and stuff to make it more visually enjoyable. It's very kind of whiplashy. Flame Core basically is Red Mountain. That is true Shroomy, except for Red Mountain I think is way better. It's faster. Honestly, I think that it looks better too. Fwenley Muswoom saying, I don't understand how anyone can like 06. Like, even this level with good physics and controls is still a nightmare. You know, it's 06, I think, is just a story of bad execution of what is not necessarily bad ideas. I think that 06, like, ultimately, like, if Sonic's handling and physics were better, we would not be having the same discussions that we are having today about Sonic 06. It ultimately boils down to that. Like, the story is memeable, all of that stuff is super dumb, but if the game itself played well, because the level design for the most part is pretty solid, but if the game itself played well, it would not have gone down in history as poorly as it did. But, you know, as it was rushed, there are glitches, Sonic is just super wonky, and whatever good intentions there were are overshadowed by its overall failings. That's fine. You know, you don't have to agree with me, but that's kind of my 2 cents on it. I will say this is, level design-wise, not my favorite. But I think a lot of the levels are very solidly made. Like Crisis City and... whoops. Crisis City and Kingdom Valley in particular. Boss time.
Don't touch it.
Don't need to see the harassment like that. This is a pretty clever reuse of Perfect Chaos as well. I will say though, it's there's only so much you can do with this one. I don't even know if it's possible to remodel something on that scale, but kind of is what it is. Awesome. It is good to hear that Flame Core is gonna get a little facelift. Whee! Yikes, Sonic. Let's keep it safe for the kiddies. Just kind of want to reiterate what I was saying last time, that I love that this boss is its own stage in addition to just a boss. I really hope future, if we get more modern titles, I hope that this is how they treat the bosses. In fact, even if we don't do modern, if we go back to adventure, like I think we will, I think that is a way better way of treating bosses. Because Sonic has been very hit or miss with bosses, even in the good games. Like, there's very few bosses that I will straight up say are really well done, even in Classic. I really like the Mania bosses a lot, but I think that if we keep Sonic true to his strengths, which has always been, the platforming and momentum element of it, I think that this is a really good way of going about it. It's kind of impressive to me that that line works as well as it does in this situation, considering how different it is from the original. Well done. Oh, whoa, no! Glad there's a little checkpoint there. Oh. Is there a checkpoint? No, I'm back from the beginning. Oh well. Still a fun boss. Oh, it did checkpoint. Awesome. Every time. Gotta time my homing attack better on that portion. There we go. see. King Boom Boo was a really good boss. SA2, I mean, like, that one's really solid. That one and Egg Golem, they were really unique. I liked those. Kingdom Valley does look really good. You know, I think that there's, with every Sonic fan that's been kind of part of the fan base for a really long time, I think that we all kind of have a soft spot for, like, what if Sonic was realistic. Like, I know I certainly loved the idea when I was a kid, when this came out. I was about 15 when 06 came out, and I loved that idea at the time. But over the course of time, too, I've just come to the understanding that Sonic does really belong in kind of a more stylized world more than a realistic one. There are opportunities to do something neat with more realistic things, and I think that Unleashed kind of straddles that line where the game itself is existing in I love that. It is existing in a little more realistic locales, but you still kind of have that stylistic aspect that Sonic can excel in. Oops. This is the only stage that has kind of switch pushing to progress that actually works, because it is a race. Keeps Sonic moving. It doesn't bring it to a crawl. Well, unless you die, like I did. That was close. You know, make this one. Lost track of how much time I was taking. There we go. That was close. I'm glad I didn't hit the box I was aiming for on that one, because I would have lost that. It really is interesting to me, though, 06's level order. Whoops. Yeah. Because this level is way lighter and way chiller than Flame Core. And even Crisis City. Like, this level is not nearly as difficult as either of those. It's just kind of interesting that those levels were chosen as the middle point. That might have cost me. Yeah. No. Oh! I almost got it. Oh. Oops. My fault. I'm getting impatient. Resorting to the boost. There we go. There we go. Oops. And when you get into a rhythm with the Mach Speed stage, it just feels good in this mod. Like, I don't want every level ever in the modern formula to feel like the Mach Speed sections, but I think on occasion like this, it just lets you get into a real pattern and a rhythm. Gika Kawaii is asking if I like Heroes at all. I like a lot of what Heroes does, but I think that just Sonic's acceleration, the slipperiness, that does detract it from me, because at this point in kind of my fandom, I do feel like that is a big part of what makes or breaks the Sonic experience for me, is how Sonic handles and his physics, and Heroes just kind of drops the ball in that department. But I like a lot of what it does. I like its aesthetic, minus the shininess of the principal cast, and just overall the models I feel like were not my aesthetic versus what they looked like in SA2. The gameplay models of SA2, like the cutscenes in SA2, were terrible. But just gonna take a quick tour around Soliana. I'm definitely going to switch over to the Kingdom Valley demo really quickly, because that one's really good. But I'm just gonna be a little explorative right now. Soliana's a little too big for its own good. I get what they were trying to do. They were trying to kind of replicate Sonic Adventure 1's experience, but expand it out. It's just unnecessarily big for what it facilitates, because it's just kind of a place for the NPCs to hang out until you talk to them about the side missions, which I never do because I can't stand the loading screens. I just want to move on. Sup, Nux? I don't hate the level design in Heroes, actually. I think it gets repetitive. I think that whoa, where am I? Oh, there I am. I think it gets a little repetitive in terms of the set pieces. But besides that, it's fine. It's more SA2 level design, just with a little bit more emphasis on combat. Yeah, it's all good. I would say Heroes is about as linear as SA2, just with the concessions made for the fact that Sonic and Team are faster, and so they made the levels a little bit wider than they were in SA2, but they're about the same degree of exploration. I don't know why I enunciated that so weird. Inkwell, you're exactly right. The problem with Heroes is just the fact that it's the exact same game 4 times, just a little bit shorter with Team Rose and different objectives with Team Chaotix. I think that there were some interesting design decisions made in Heroes that definitely could have been reconsidered for a better product. But again, like, Sonic Heroes is not a bad game. It is a middle-of-the-road game with some great ideas. Like, there's a reason that the people whose Sonic Heroes was one of their first Sonic games, there's a reason that they love it so much. It does a lot of things right. But with me, you know, I first became aware of the series around the Adventure era those were the games that I really wanted to play. They weren't the first games I played. Well, Adventure 1 I played like a demo of it, like Hollywood Video. But the first games that I fully played were the classics because they were available on PC at the time. So I got, you know, Sonic and Knuckles collection for PC, Sega Smash Pack 2 with Sonic 2 on it, Sonic CD, which for a while I actually thought was Sonic 1. And so when I did eventually play Sonic 1 when I got a Genesis, I was very disappointed by it. Then like Sonic R and Sonic 3D Blast and stuff like that. I just totally lost what I was trying to say with that. I just started railing off all the Sonic titles I played. Alright guys, give me just a second. I'm going to switch over to Kingdom Valley mod really quickly. So let me switch it over to some of that. A little more of that. It's going to take me a quick second. Now, I did run into a little bit of an issue last time I tried going for Demo 4. Not last time, but I did get it to work eventually, but I did run into a couple of issues with it. So it might crash this first time, but I will keep going until I can get it working. See if I can get that working. Oh, you know what? I just launched it again. I launched Generations twice at the same time. That probably won't work. Yeah, it was an infinite loading. It was an infinite loading crash. The FTCR 06 playthrough? I have not. Alright, so I think it's working. We'll know for sure in just a second. So I'll go ahead and switch back over to that. Game capture. Okay, so it looks like it's working. I've just been, yeah, I gotta wait to make sure that it appears on my screen too. So looks like we're good. Let's just make sure it's not the infinite loading. Crimson King 12,000 asks, what makes you so confident that Sega plans on revisiting Sonic Adventure? It just seems like the right time. Oh, looks like we got the infinite loading. Let me try one more time. It purely is just based on Sonic Team, or Sega enjoys taking advantage of nostalgia. The original Sonic Adventure came out in 1998. It's been well over 20 years. It feels like the right time. Iizuka has expressed interest in it. The fans have expressed interest in it. I think that it just is that time. I'm going to try disabling other mods first, making sure that one loads first, then reapplying it. You can fix that by going. Okay, let me try that. Oh, I never even... I'm in that folder you're pointing me to, Mario, and I didn't even see that there was a fixing infinite loading problem folder in there. Delete. All right, let's give that a shot. Is there anything else? Oh, right. Unleashed, pipeline. All right, let's give this a shot. That sounds promising. Oh, that did not sound promising, but that might have been me. Awesome. Okay. So that's working. I'm working okay. Sweet. Cool. Awesome. Yep, this mod has been super well done. I'm really impressed by what I've seen. Just generally speaking, like, from my own limited experience in modding and feeling the pain of, you know, tweaking and retweaking, and the fact that you guys are clearly much more masterful of this stuff than I am, this is pretty great. Ooh, took me a little further than I anticipated. I remember playing the original Kingdom Valley demo, I think at my local Target when it was still out. I'm like, wow, this game plays really weird, but that was also during the time where I'm like, I'm sure they'll fix it. I still had a lot of trust in Sonic Team not to let me down, because at the time I was still I still thought that Shadow the Hedgehog was a great game. Don't ask me why. It just kind of was where I was at that time. I was still kind of under the assumption that all Sonic games were good at that time. I'd never considered a Sonic game bad. And I remember I always watched GameTrailers.com back in the day, and I remember seeing their review and thinking to myself, whatever, these guys just don't know how to play a Sonic game. It's not going to be that bad. And it took me probably a little over a year to actually play it, because I didn't have a 360 at the time, and I played it. I'm like, oh, I was wrong. I was so wrong. And that was when there was a time where I was pretty disillusioned with the Sonic series, and '06 was kind of the catalyst for that. At that point, I kind of stopped collecting the comics, and that may not have been just an '06 thing. That was just me being in high school and not being concerned as much with Sonic stuff for a while. Then in college, that's when I really started to kind of reintegrate myself with the franchise. That was when I first joined Sonic Retro, and really started to integrate myself into the bigger fandom. Because up until that point, I really hadn't. I was a fan, but I was not part of the fandom, if that makes any sense. Until, I want to say it was like early 2010, I think, was when I joined Retro. That was when I kind of became aware of the greater, well, that's been my kind of issue with this mod, is occasional, just the timing of the attacks of some of these guys. Oh. I'm frozen. I'm gonna restart it. Uh-oh. I don't know if you guys can still hear me, but I've got complete freeze. It's not even letting me exit out of the window. Oh yeah, it's probably my rig. It's definitely lower end. May not be able to finish the rest of it. So, the issue with Sonic Generations in these games is that even when I Control-Alt-Delete and go to Task Manager, like the Task Manager opens up behind the game window, so I'm a little stuck. Let's see if I can. My typical way of closing out of it is not working. I'm trying to just close out of it on taskbar. It's not letting me do that either. Oops, don't want to do that. So because I'm inept at Windows, does anyone else have a solution for minimizing a game window besides just pressing the Windows screen and messing with the taskbar that way? Press F. Nope. F ain't working for me. Alt F4, let's try that. No good. Was I paying respects there? Was that what that was? I see what you did there. Yeah, no, it's, like, the still image is actually pretty cool looking. It would make for a good screenshot. Because I don't really want to stop and restart the stream, I think that I'm gonna probably call it quits here. Well, I'm trying to think. Try one more thing. I don't know if you guys can still hear me or not. Trying one more thing. Alt tab. So Control Alt Delete. Task Manager. Alt tab. Whoa, hey, that did something. Maybe. Task Manager. So that did bring up my different windows, but it's not letting me. Wait. That's what I get for trying to play games like this on a potato. Yeah, no, so I think that I'm going to have to call it quits. Wait, oh, press the Windows key when you're switching windows. So, Alt, Tab, Window. Oh. Nope. Like, this would be super easy if I could just, like, exit out of generations any other way. If you're on Windows 10, try using the Windows key plus tab, yeah. Whoa. Hey. That might have just done it. Oh, I had it for a second. Close. Let's see. Like, when I do it that way, when I do Windows tab, it lets Task Manager appear in front of generations for just a second. But it's not fast enough for me to force quit. Cool. I'm glad you guys can still hear me at least. So I'm thinking that it's probably... Well, what if I try closing Steam? Nope, won't let me. That's a bummer. Well, it is what it is, I guess. A new desktop and put Task Manager on it. So I have it checked to show this window on all desktops. Show windows from this app on all desktops. So move to a new desktop. Then a new desktop. Oh, hey. Hey. Yeah. That done it. Oh, yes. Okay, cool. Awesome. Okay, so that nightmare is over. Oh. Still there? Hello, hello. Can anyone hear me? Is there anybody out there? Can anybody see me? Awesome. Cool. Okay, so we did it. Wow. Okay. Okay, so we got two options. One, I could play something else, or we can try that again. And if there are any other possible, solutions to it, I can try those as well. Let's try it again. Just be sure to put the task manager on top using the options. Okay, so being a complete noob. So full disclosure, for the last like 10 years, I've been a Mac user. And so now I'm just going back to PC for the first time in well over a decade. So you guys are going to have to run me through how to make it so task manager is in front of the generation screen. So I'm assuming that I open up task manager right now. Task manager. Is there, options maybe. Always on top. Sweet. Cool. Okay. That'll do it. All right, let's try it again. GMI. All right. Cross your fingers, everybody. Sweet. I'm seeing it appear on your guys' screen, so. Awesome. All right, so we're moving. Let's try this again and hope for the best. Yeah, no, I'm putting this more on my machine than I am on the mod, simply because I intentionally got a relatively cheap gaming rig that I can upgrade. I just have not gotten around to that whole upgrade part. It's just like a mid-tier Asus. Oh, and don't ask me what the specs are because I don't actually know them off the top of my head. Oh. Oh, nice. 6 months of work, man. That's impressive. Just for like, you would think that that's just kind of one of those. Oh crap! You would think that it's just kind of one of those things that it's just like, oh, it's pretty basic thing. But I can imagine that I can't think of anything in vanilla generations that you could use as kind of a template for that. So, major kudos. Yeah, no, I wish I could tell you my specs, but alas, I do not know them. I'm more of a Let's just go ahead and open this thing up and see if it doesn't melt everything. And if so, I mean, if it doesn't melt everything, then I should be fine. You know, the most scientific way of dealing with this crap. Great, great, great! Oh, is it the chopper? Okay. That makes sense. Even so. Retooling it like that. Mad respect. Alright, so. I'm feeling it starting to chug a little bit here. So it's the moment of truth time. Okay, cool. Past that part. We might be in the clear. I've beaten the level before, so I know that it can work. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that... I don't remember if I tried it with the Unleashed shaders last time. So maybe that is causing my PC grief. I think we're in the clear, though. Let's see here. No. Yeah. Oh. I don't know why I keep thinking that there's another one behind me instead of in front of me. I keep homing attacking in the wrong direction. Alright. Let's do it right this time. There we go. Okay. So good. Oh, whew, that was close. All right. After I passed that part where it crashed initially, it definitely, like that area, my frame rate really started to chug. but ever since I got out of the area, it's been silky smooth again. So I think we're safe. I know just before the South by Southwest panel, Aaron Weber was kind of teasing that they found a bunch of bunch of old promotional materials for some of the older games. And one of the things that I really hope is in there and that they might consider releasing at some point is the original tech demo trailer thing that they showed off. The one that has him kind of jumping off of a cliff and into the woods and then fighting through the different ponds and turning into supersonic. Yeah, crap. Turning into supersonic at the end and stuff. I always thought that was really cool. And it always looked like it was cutting off something, because I know that at some point there's also kind of a live demo portion where Sonic is throwing out ring capsules. And some of the recordings of it show it, some of it don't. But I've always felt like there's something else going on in that trailer that we don't get to see. And so I'd love to see that in its completion. Something about finding old media like that surrounding games is just like really exciting to me. And it's maybe just because I'm in kind of the marketing field. I'm a graphic designer for the marketing department. That stuff is very, very interesting to me. Oops. All right, here we go. This is so cool. This is seriously so cool, because you're taking something that Sonic 06 couldn't do right, and like just adding silver, doing this alone just makes this part make so much more sense. Super cool. And obviously, man, 06 and in here, this area is gorgeous. With the added benefit of, in this one, it actually plays solidly. It's moments like this and in areas like this that I think keep people who can't give up on Sonic 06. This is what keeps people coming back. It's these moments of true brilliance. You know, like, this is so... You look at this level and you're just filled with such, like... There's emotional aspects to this. It's like, it's gorgeous, the idea is cool, and you fall in love with the idea of what this could be versus what it actually is in the final 06 product. And I think it's those emotions that get tied to it that make people want to say... You know, keep people coming back. Awesome. Well, one little hiccup aside, we got through it. Looks great. And then I'm probably going to call it quits after this, guys. So I'll take a look at the chat for a little while longer, and we can just kind of talk a little bit more. Next time I stream, I'll probably go through Sonic R, because I just watched Blaze Hedgehog's little video, and he made me aware of all of these cool things that people have developed. They've developed a new loader that lets you take your old version of Sonic R and get it running on modern PCs. So I tested it. Looks great. I've had the same copy of the Sonic R CD since like 2001, and so I just had kept it all these years, and so I followed his tutorial and threw it into the updater, and it works like a charm now. It looks great. Yeah, it's really solid. And growing up, I didn't even know that there were lighting effects and stuff that weren't working correctly. Seeing all those makes it look really cool. Would you rather have an SA3 made by Shun Dash Like a Maniac Nakamura or Colors 2 made by Yuji Naka? Here's the thing though, with Yuji Naka, from my understanding, he had gotten pretty hands off by the Adventure era. Like, he was kind of in a producer role more than like actively involved in the development of the games. And so I don't really know, like, obviously, he had a lot of say in certain aspects of it, but I don't know necessarily what it was he brought to the table from a functional design standpoint by the time that he took off. And with Shun Nakamura, between 06 and Forces, it's tough for me to really say whether or not I'd be super cool with it. But it was also under his direction that we saw a lot of really ambitious stuff with 06. And so I'm not willing to give up on him yet, because I think that, given an ideal situation, he could do something really cool. So, yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, that's right. I mean, neither of those are ever going to happen. I think Sonic Adventure 3 is not going to happen by name. Like, I think that we'll get something akin to a Sonic Adventure 3, just like 06 was akin to Sonic Adventure 3, and Sonic Unleashed literally was called Sonic Adventure 3 while in production. I think that we'll see an Adventure Formula title that people will call, oh, this is the real Sonic Adventure 3, but it won't be officially named that. I think we will see another Adventure Formula done. Like, if this game really does turn out to be an adventure remake, then they'll have a perfectly suited engine for creating a new Adventure Formula game. That's where I kind of see the progression going. Mario Tanaka, thank you so much for being involved in this project. It's super cool mod. Like, and again, like, there are hiccups here and there, but I don't take points off the grade for that. It really was, it is a very ambitious and well-made mod. Only thing that I would recommend is just kind of in the desert level, just kind of reworking the checkpoint system and the ring system. Maybe just putting a couple of rings in those spots where the door closes behind you, so that way you don't kind of lock yourself into a death trap. And just for some of the homing attacking enemies, the homing attack paths over pits, maybe if it's possible to tweak the attack timing on that, just to make it a little bit easier, just to reload from the checkpoint and not have to worry too much about the timing on that. But it's all totally up to you. Yeah. Thank you, Brian too. Brian U, or however you pronounce it. Yeah, he's for sure. Like, that whole team is super solid. Oh, it has? Okay. Has that been publicly released yet, or is is that going to come in the next full release? I'm going to get out of the rewards screen. There's only so many times I can hear that repeat. There we go. Okay, yeah, I'll check out the channel and take a look at those updates. Alright, guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it quits. But thank you so much for checking me out again, and this was fun. I think I'm slowly but surely kind of getting the hang of the whole streaming thing. So hopefully next time will be better than this. I want to continue to improve. So, all right, everybody, have a great Friday. And again, I am working on my next regular video. It's going to be. I hope you guys will all like it. It's going to be adventure adjacent. It's not going to be specifically talking about adventure gameplay, but it's going to be talking about something involved in the adventure gameplay that a lot of people remember really, really fondly. So hope you guys all enjoy that. It's scripted, it's recorded. I just have to edit the audio and then start working on the video portion. So hopefully in the next month or so, you're going to see that come out. And I'm going to, continue to try and stream maybe every couple of weeks, every 3 weeks maybe, just to kind of keep things alive around here. And next time I'll probably be doing Sonic R unless something else comes up that I really want to cover. So, all right. Well, with that said, that is all I got. So have a good one.